Have you ever wondered why God's rules and restrictions feel so hard to bear? Maybe you've even thought, if God didn't have all these expectations, my life would be so much better. Let me tell you a story that might change your perspective. There was once a mother who had a young son, her pride and joy. He was full of life, energy, and curiosity. She loved him more than anything in the world, and like any good parent, she had rules in place to keep him safe. As the boy grew older, his curiosity about the world outside their home grew stronger. He'd watch other kids play in the streets, laughing and having what seemed like endless fun. The world looked so exciting, so full of adventure, and he couldn't wait to explore it. But every time he asked his mom if he could join them, her answer was always the same: no, not yet. She explained that the time would come when he could go out and see the world for himself. But for now, she wanted him to stay close to home. At first, he understood, but as he got older, frustration set in. His mom's constant no, her endless rules, and the chores she gave him seemed unfair, maybe even cruel. One day, after a long day of work, his mother told him, "I'm going to take a quick nap. You can play your video games, but do not go outside." The boy nodded, but as soon as he heard her soft breathing, he tiptoed to the door and slipped outside. He couldn't believe it. Freedom! The sun felt warm on his face, and the streets were alive with energy. Finally, he could see what he'd been missing. The other kids, the ones he'd been watching from his window for years, were playing a game in the street. He ran up to them, excited to join. At first, they hesitated, but eventually let him play. "Stand in the middle of the street," they told him. "We'll throw you the ball." He was so excited. He followed their instructions, standing right in the middle of the street, waiting for the ball to come his way. When it flew through the air, he ran to catch it, gripping it tightly in his hands as the other kids cheered. He felt like a champion, a part of the group, finally living the life he thought he wanted. But then their cheers turned to shouts. Their faces, once full of excitement, were now filled with fear. He turned to see what they were yelling about, and there it was, a car speeding straight toward him. He froze, unable to react in time. Boom! The impact threw him to the ground. Pain shot through his body as he lay there, blood pooling beneath him. The car didn't stop. It sped off. The kids he thought were his new friends ran away, leaving him alone in the street. As he lay there, broken and afraid, he thought to himself, "Why didn't I listen to my mom?" He had believed she was just trying to keep good things from him, but now he realized her rules weren't about restriction, they were about protection. In his moment of despair, he cried out for the one person he knew would come. "Mom!" And then he saw her running toward him with tears in her eyes. She stayed by his side until the ambulance arrived. She didn't scold him, even though he had disobeyed her. She just held his hand and stayed with him. Eventually, the boy made a full recovery, but he never forgot that moment. From then on, he understood something so powerful. His mother's restrictions weren't there to make his life harder. They were there to keep him safe from dangers he couldn't see. And so it is with us and God. God's rules may sometimes feel burdensome, even unfair. We may think He's trying to keep good things from us, but the truth is, His restrictions are often His protection. Isaiah 46:10 says, "He knows the end from the beginning." God sees what we can't. He knows the dangers that lie ahead, and His commands are there to shield us from harm, even when we don't understand them. Just like the boy learned to trust his mother, we need to trust God. His will for us is good, His plans are perfect, and His rules aren't meant to hold us back. They're meant to guide us into His best for our lives. Maybe you're struggling with something God is asking you to do or not to do. I want to encourage you today. Trust Him. Trust that He sees what you can't, and that His love for you is greater than you'll ever know. If this message blessed you, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.